all the way for an icing, and a face-off back down to Shesterkin with 2:06 to go in regulation, tied at 4. The Final Five brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. Visit them at Tito'sVodka.com.
Well, to say the Rangers need to get through this 2 minutes and 6 seconds just on an even keel, get into the room and regroup. They just cannot get out of their own end against the relentless Florida presence.
But they win this face-off. Miller at the far wall will flip it back out to center. Too far for Panarin, and because it was before the red line, another icing, this time with 1:59 to go.
Well, again, you know, it does the Ranger defender or puck carrier have time to make a play as opposed to just getting rid of it? Well, getting rid of it seems to be the plan of attack here under siege from the Rangers standpoint.
Rangers win this faceoff. Miller with another chance at the far boards, and it just does not get out of the zone between the circles. Verhaeghe with a shot that deflects off of Fox. He gathers the rebound in the corner, leaves it back for Reinhart. Reinhart puts it back behind the net, now skates to the near corner with Verhaeghe with one hand, chops at it. Fox blocks it. Barkov is there, slides it back to Verhaeghe in the corner. Verhaeghe up the wall. Rangers still trying to clear, squirts to the near circle where it's flipped out by Miller, and it'll bounce down. It'll deaden before there's an icing. Panarin trying to grab it away from Montour. In for support is Mikkola. Mikkola with one hand gets it out to Reinhart, scooped up by Barkov. Now the Panthers have a 2-on-2. Barkov for Tkachuk at the far wing. Tkachuk waits for his mates. Stops at the far wall. Out to the blue line as he battles. Then leaves it back at the far corner where it's outletted out and doesn't touch a Ranger. Another icing with this time with 1:09 to go.
Well, I tell you, that's some job by Ryan Lindgren on a one-on-one defending battle with Tkachuk. You know, Tkachuk's got that big lower body, right? When he turns and backs into people, it's impossible to get the puck from him. Lindgren does a good job, but the Rangers once again ice the puck.
Shots in period 12-4, but the Rangers win the face-off. Lindgren off the near glass and down. Will it have the legs for icing? It will. So a third consecutive icing for the Rangers with 1:09 to go. Face-off will come back down to Shesterkin. Before that face-off, the Panthers were winning 56% of the draws.
We've had
to win another one.
75 face-offs. I can't remember a game with this many face-offs.
Well, these last couple of minutes, it's like a basketball game.
All in the Rangers' end in this third period.
Here's Rodriguez back to the point. Ekblad. Ekblad's going to spin it back around the wall. He played to the near corner with under a minute to play. Goes back to the far wall. Trocheck up the wall. Chopped at by Cooley. Doesn't get out of the zone. Goes back to the boards. Rangers try again, but it's held in by Ekblad. He slings the shot that's knocked down by Trouba, and then Bennett couldn't gather it up for a shot with 40 seconds to go. Rodriguez on his forehand. Centering pass goes to Tkachuk, and a save by Shesterkin. Goes to the far wall, and Ekblad. Ekblad's going to stop. He's going to climb the far wall, then spin it back to Rodriguez at the corner. Goes out to the near circle for a shot that gets knocked down. Cooley off the near glass will send it back down. This will be another icing on the Rangers with 19.8 to go.
Boy, I'll tell you, this Florida relentless play, but for Shesterkin in the third period, this game's over in regulation. Now you get 19.8 seconds left in regulation. The thing is, the Rangers have been winning their fair share of faceoffs.
Yeah.
They just can't make a play to get it out without icing it.
What a save by Shesterkin, point blank on Tkachuk. 19.8. Rangers need to win another draw. But the Panthers control this one. Mikkola slides it to the far wall, but it's taken away by Cooley. Can't clear it out, but now Trouba comes in for support, flips it down. This will not be an icing with 10. Mikkola will play it between the circles, cross the blue line, passes to the near wing through Barkov and down with 4 seconds. Schneider, edge of the trapezoid, will pin it up against the wall. And that'll do it for regulation. And for the second consecutive game, the Rangers and Panthers are going to go to overtime.
Well, the Rangers survived in the regulation, and that's basically what happened here in this third period as the Florida Panthers got the goal early enough that they knew they're going to have plenty of time to get the second one to tie it. And then for a certain part of the game, you got a sense that, okay, Florida just kind of settled in, and the Rangers take a penalty, and eventually are well on their heels. But for Igor Shesterkin, this is probably a 2-1 series lead for the Florida Panthers. But the point is, it's not.
Yep.
And in regulation, you're tied. You go to overtime.
Final five brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. Visit them at Tito'sVodka.com. Rangers outshot in the third period, 13-4, outscored 2-0. Barkov and Forsling with the tallies came a minute and 54 seconds apart. One at 5:04, the other at 6:58 to tie the game. And we are going to overtime for the second consecutive game, a game that's tied at 4 in a series that is even at a game apiece. Dan Grasso will take you through the intermission, and then we'll come back for overtime here in Sunrise, with the Rangers and the Panthers are tied up at 4 in Game 3. You're listening to Rangers Hockey on ESPN New York and the MSG Radio Network.
Is that your new Nissan Rogue?
Yeah, crazy story. So I'm at the Nissan Thrill of Summer sales event when Dave, the sales guy, asks, "Want to test drive the Rogue?" And I'm like, "Let's go." We're driving when Dave says, "Check out the V6 turbo engine." I hit the gas and whoosh. I'm like, "Okay, I wasn't expecting that." Dave goes, "If you think that's cool, watch this." Dave shows me the miles per gallon, and I'm like, "Whoa, that's pretty impressive fuel economy." Dave mentions, "These new cars are going fast." And in that moment, I had to have that Rogue. Crazy, right?
Wait till you hear how I got my Sentra.
Now get a low $269 per month lease for 36 months on Rogue. Shop the Nissan sales event. Visit your local Nissan store and NissanUSA.com today. 2024 EPA fuel economy estimates from 28 city, 34 highway to 30 city, 37 highway for 2024 Nissan Rogue. Actual mileage may vary. Well-qualified lessees, 2024 Rogue S all-wheel drive, $4,409 initial payment excludes tax, title, license, and $695 acquisition fee. Disposition fee due at lease end. Take from new dealer stock. Call 1-888-858-8319 for offer details. N6324.
This is the New York Rangers Intermission Report. Now, here's Dan Grasso on the MSG Radio Network.
And we welcome you to the New York Rangers Intermission Report. Dan Grasso with you. Well, for the second game in a row in this series, we will need more than 60 minutes of regulation to decide it, as the Florida Panthers, after trailing 4-2 after 2 periods of play, storm back and really dominate the tempo of play in the final 20 minutes of regulation. They get a pair of goals. Alexander Barkov, his 6th of the playoffs at 5:04 from Verhaeghe and Mikkola. And then less than 2 minutes later, it's Gustav Forsling, his 3rd of the postseason at 6:58 from Tkachuk and Rodriguez. Those the only tallies of the third period. Credit Igor Shesterkin for even keeping the Rangers even at 4 apiece at this point, because he was under fire for much of those 20 minutes. But this is where we are, 4-all after regulation. And the Rangers almost can exhale after that third period to just get a breather and get to overtime, because they were really on their heels for much of that third period. Florida outshoots the Rangers 12-4 in those final 20 minutes of regulation. And so to summarize essentially how this game has all unfolded up until this point, you could probably say that the first period was a draw between the two teams, each scoring a pair of goals. Sam Reinhart on the power play opened things up at 2:50, his 6th of the playoffs from Barkov and Tkachuk. Rangers would have the equalizer, Alexei Lafreniere at even strength, his 5th of the playoffs from Trocheck and Trouba. And just 25 seconds later, it will be Barclay Goodrow for the second straight game lighting the lamp, his 5th from Braden Schneider and Will Cooley, giving the Rangers a 2-1 lead. But before the first period would expire, it would be the Panthers getting the equalizer, and it would be Sam Reinhart once again and again on the power play, 7th of the playoffs from Carter Verhaeghe at 14:46. So we were 2-2 at the end of one period of play. Second period, different story, is it was all New York Rangers who dominated that period. And Alexei Lafreniere scoring his 2nd of the game at 15:23 of even strength, 6th of the playoffs from Keandre Miller and Jacob Trouba. And then, wouldn't you know it, Barclay Goodrow again, this time shorthanded at 18:14, 6th of the playoffs from Trocheck and Lindgren. And it's amazing when you think about it, Goodrow only 4 goals during the regular season. Well, he's got 3 just in the last 2 games alone. And now you have a sudden death overtime period. Wouldn't put it past Barclay to light the lamp again. Certainly all Ranger fans would appreciate appreciate that happening as we get ready for this overtime. So then that third period, again, as we told you, swung heavily in the favor of the Florida Panthers, which is where we are right now, 4-4 at the end of regulation. Shots on goal in the third, as we told you, 12-4 in favor of the Panthers, and they have the shots on goal edge in this game, 31-14. Rangers, unfortunately, spending a lot of time in the penalty box this afternoon. 6 penalties for the Blue Shirts, and the Panthers capitalizing with a pair of power play goals. Rangers, on the other hand, only getting 2 power play opportunities, but unable to convert on either one. We'll see how the overtime period is going to be whistled. And in case you're wondering, back on Friday night, remember, the game-winning goal from Barclay Goudreau, that happened in the later stages of the overtime, 14 minutes and 1 second in. So that is where things stand right now, 4-4, Rangers and the Panthers at the end of regulation. Western Conference Finals, on the other hand, well, that will resume coming up tomorrow night in Edmonton. An 8:30 puck drop there as the Stars and Oilers play a game number 3 with the series knotted up at 1 game apiece. Last night, it was Dallas using a pair of third-period goals to take Game 2 by a 3-1 score. Edmonton, however, with a 4-2 record on their home ice in these playoffs. Dallas, on the other hand, 5-1 on the road. As you may have heard, Jimmy Vesey considered week to week by the New York Rangers, so he's not in the lineup this afternoon. And Kaapo Kakko, who was a healthy scratch in game number 2, back in the lineup and back in the fold for the Rangers this afternoon. But there was some consideration of maybe Blake Wheeler making his postseason debut. Now, Wheeler, of course, has been sidelined since February the 15th due to that leg injury, but the last 2 games in particular, Wheeler, who has been practicing, has also been in uniform and has taken the ice with his team for pregame warm-ups, but still has not gotten the nod from Peter Laviolette. Now, before this afternoon's game, Coach was speaking with the media, and he was asked what is Wheeler's return from that pretty devastating injury told him about the veteran.
His work ethic has been incredible. The commitment that he made to come back from such an injury has been amazing to watch. His drive and his motivation, and it's all been to give himself a chance and an opportunity to play games. And so now that he's back, this is not far off from where we were with other players that were off significantly. We want to make sure that when they do come back, they're also effective inside the game. And every day he's working hard, really hard, to get back to where he was prior to the injury. And there's been significant strides with that.
Wheeler, a veteran of 65 career postseason games, and once upon a time, his head coach with the Winnipeg Jets was none other than Panthers head man Paul Maurice, who before this afternoon's game shared a story about Blake being one of the tougher players that he's ever coached.
Well, the first, and I don't know what the injury was, the specifics of it, the first thing was if he's down and he doesn't come back in a game, he's hurt bad. I mean, one of my first games were in Dallas, and he got hit into the door on his shoulder blade and crawled down the bomb. And there's about 5 minutes left to go in the game, and then my trainer kind of gives me one of these, and 2.5 minutes later, he's back. How is he back on the bench to the trainer? I have absolutely no idea. To me, and he went out and played. I just said, "You good?" And he didn't say anything. He just kind of shook his head. He nodded. He went out and closed the game out for us. So he's a tough man. He can play. I've seen him play with a flu. He was, I don't know how he got through the game. And so inspirational leader in that part, tough as nails. And if there's a rehab program, if there's some work to be done for him to get healthier, better, faster, he's done it. So that he is wired right into that body and all the things that he can do to be great.
That is Panthers coach Paul Maurice talking about Rangers winger Blake Wheeler. Once again, we are in intermission after the third period. Rangers and the Panthers knotted up at 4. We will play overtime, sudden death, once again for the second consecutive game. And, we talked about it in the pregame show, the fact that we're talking about less than a 48-hour turnaround for both of these teams between games 2 and 3. Played almost 75 minutes of hockey back on Friday night with the game going 14 minutes plus of overtime, and now you turn right around and have to play another overtime again. We'll see how fresh the legs are. We'll see if fatigue plays a factor, and maybe that could lead to maybe a quick end to this hockey game. We shall see. Both goaltenders will surely be on their toes. A couple of numbers that we had mentioned throughout the broadcast here that favor the New York Rangers when, again, considering who's going to get that next goal and win this game. Alexis Lafreniere having a phenomenal afternoon with the 2 goals already. So far this season, the Rangers are 23-2-1 when Lafreniere scores a goal. And normally, with 4 goals on the scoreboard, you would think that that's going to be good enough to get you a victory, especially with Igor Shesterkin between the pipes and the Blue Shirts. They've been almost infallible when they score the 4 goals. 40-1 this season when they score 4 or more. However, it's going to take 5 this afternoon if they are going to emerge victorious and take a 2-1 lead in the best of 7. Remember, game number 4 coming up on Tuesday night. That is an 8 p.m. puck drop, but certainly the Blue Shirts want to be the one that has that 2-1 lead heading into game number 4. So we will rejoin you again after this one is complete, or at the very least, we will rejoin you again in 20 minutes at the end of the first overtime. But coming up next, we will send it right back down to Sunrise as Don LaGreca and Dave Maloney will have sudden death overtime for you. The Rangers and the Panthers tied up at 4 in a series knotted up at 1 game apiece. Should be a good one. And New York Rangers hockey on ESPN New York and the MSG Radio Network continues right after this timeout.
This has been the New York Rangers Intermission Report. Blue Shirts Hockey is next.
The Honda you want is here, so drive in the moment with the versatile CR-V or Accord, both named a Car and Driver 10 Best. And when you're driving a Honda, you're driving the brand named Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Value Brand for 2023.
Contact your local Honda dealer for a great deal today.
See dealer for financing details. Car and Driver December 2023 based on 2023 brand image scores from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for more information.
Spectrum One is a big deal. You get Spectrum Internet with the most reliable internet speeds, free advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced security and privacy, and a free Spectrum Mobile Unlimited line with nationwide 5G included, all while saving big. For the big speed, big reliability, and big savings you want, get Spectrum One. Just $49.99 a month for 12 months. Visit spectrum.com/big deal for full details. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Grand Marnier takes cocktails from ordinary to unforgettable, adding a layer of sophistication to some of the world's most well-loved drinks, including the margarita. The Espolòn Grand Margarita is a classic cocktail that pairs sour lime with earthy Espolòn tequila notes, adding Grand Marnier's cognac and bitter orange liqueur flavor for a refined smoothness. Visit GrandMarnier.com to learn how to take cocktails from ordinary to extraordinary and live grand. Grand Marnier liqueur, 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof. Copyright 2024, Campari America, New York, New York. Drink with style. Always drink responsibly.
Don LaGreca and Dave Maloney back here in Sunrise, Florida. Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Final, tied at 4 as we head to overtime. The Rangers will defend radio right here for the OT. You know, as a fan, Dave, you think about what was a 4-2 lead in the third. The ice tilted for the majority of that third period. But I guess what makes these guys professional is to shut down what happened and think about what's going to happen and what they can control.
Oh, well, there's a couple things here. The end of that period couldn't come quickly enough. Laviolette did a nice job of stemming the flow and calling the timeout. I thought the Rangers did a really good job for a couple of shifts after that, but then the panic sets in again. And I just think it's human nature. You know, you kind of look up and you can see some light at the end of the tunnel, but you've got to be able to make a play under duress, which becomes even more difficult against a team like Florida, or who's got such big bodies. They play a big boy game, and they're going to have guys that are going to make you pay on a turnover. And it gets back to the fourth goal, to me, was probably indicative of what happened here, and that's, you know, Mika Zibanejad has time. It's like Keandre Miller killing the penalty in the first period. You have time. You have time to make a play, and you flail it. Mika's down the ice, face-off, you lose the face-off, now it's 4-4.
Yeah.
And listen, there's no question the game's a lot easier up here. There's no question that that's not the intent. But you have to find it within yourself to make a play under duress.
56-44, the face-off in favor of the Panthers. We'll have one right here at center ice. These two teams hooked up for overtime on Friday. Rangers won at 14-01 on a goal by Barclay Goodrow, who, by the way, has 2 goals this afternoon, including 2 from Alexei Lafreniere. 1 shorthanded. Zibanejad will take the face-off with Barkov. We've got a false start on the face-off. 31-19 shots favor of the Panthers.
And also, we talked about the top players needing to be top players as the keys to the game. Well, that battle's been won by Florida. And once again, not enough from Chris Kreider and Mika Zibanejad, but there is still time for redemption.
Panthers win the face-off here. They come on a 2-on-1. Barkov with a shot saved by Shesterkin. Rebound kicked by Miller to the far corner as he leans on Reinhart. And Lafreniere pops it out of the zone. And Ekblad will play it out of his own blue line to Verhaeghe. Wraps it around the wall, waiting for it is Reinhart. But Miller cuts it off and sends it back where it came to the near corner for Trouba. Trouba up the near wall, chopped out by Kreider, held in by Reinhart. He slaps that, it goes to the near corner. Played by Verhaeghe, retreats to the far boards. On his backhand, now his forehand, wraps it around the wall for Reinhart. He's got 2 goals on the power play in this game. Barkov at the near boards. Back to Reinhart, but Miller is there. Miller finds Kreider to Lafreniere. Lafreniere streaking out of the near side. He's got Zibanejad. Feathers it over to Zibanejad, but a good reach by Barkov knocks it into the far corner. Zibanejad wrestles with Barkov to the left of Bobrovsky. Slides to Tkachuk. Hard off the end boards, but kept in by Fox. Slapped at it, but knocked away by Ekblad. Goes to the near wing and sends it for Tkachuk all the way down. Rodriguez, edge of the trapezoid, leaned on by Fox. Behind Igor Shesterkin. Comes up the near wall. Montour puts it back behind the net. Rodriguez wipes out. Bennett plays it to the far boards. Bennett on his backhand forehand to Tkachuk goes through him. Rodriguez with Fox in his back pocket to the right of Shesterkin. Bennett comes in. Wenberg can't clear. Trickles on net. Shesterkin forced to make the save and get the whistle on face-off will be to his right.
Yeah, once again, the Rangers get caught a little bit flat-footed off the opening face-off, and they're on their heels right from the get-go here. It does go up ice where Mika Zibanejad just misses getting a pass from Lafreniere. Eventually, Shesterkin is going to stop the madness. Face off to the right of the Ranger netminder.
Lundell versus Trocheck. Face off one clean by the Rangers. Fox back behind the net. Ryan Lindgren to Panarin will send it all the way down. Race to avoid the icing, but Mikkola gets there first, so the face off will come back down to Igor.
Well, I tell you, the face-offs continue, and that kind of grinded-out game really suits Florida for sure. Like a choppy thing where the Rangers need to get into some sort of offensive flow here.
And there's a 56%. Fox back behind the net. Lindgren taps it to Panarin. Panarin can't get around Montour. His shot pad saved by Shesterkin. Tarasenko back behind the net. Misses Lutzerainen. Mikkola back behind the net. Centering pass goes out to Lutzerainen. Leaves it back between the circles for a shot that gets blocked. And it'll be backhanded out of the zone. It'll trickle back out to the blue line where Mikkola will recoil back in his own end. Intercepted on the outlet pass by Lafreniere near circle. Lafreniere fires and a pad save by Bobrovsky. Rebound kicks to the near boards and the Panthers can gobble it back up. Lutzerainen closes the blue line. Brings it into the zone as Lindell. He's all by himself in the middle of a change. He throws one into the middle of the ice that's intercepted by Ryan Lindgren. Cooley trying to pass to himself. Kulikov's in his way. They both go into the near corner. Pops to the wall. And Reinhart will skate it out. Reinhart finds Verhaeghe, but he can't get it all the way down thanks to Gustafsson. And it goes back out to center. Ekman-Larsson will wrap it all the way down. Gustafsson will play it to the near corner. Waits it out. Flips it back out to center. Waiting for it to come down is Hedl, but it bounces behind him, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson will play it back out. Intercepted by Gustafsson, but it goes off of his stick and all the way down. Rangers will make a change with 17:20 to go in OT. Tied at 4 in Game 3. Ekman-Larsson, outlet pass goes off the stick of Rodriguez. Miller places the Trouba, but not out. Rodriguez fires it off the end boards. Miller in the near corner. Goes to the near boards. Rangers trying to clear with Miller. Goes back out to the point. Shot by Rodriguez. Knocked down by Shesterkin. Miller passes it up the far boards looking for Zibanejad, but it's picked off by the Panthers and cleared back out to Rodriguez. Streaks down the near side. He heaves it to the near boards. Easily gloved by Shesterkin, who leaves it at the boards for Kreider, but Kreider not out. Bennett leaves it back for Rodriguez. Rodriguez to the near boards. Back behind the cage. Bennett shielded off by Trouba. Bennett gets it back. It goes through his stick. Miller and he battle at the edge of the trapezoid. Rodriguez feathers it back to the near corner for Bennett. Bennett climbs to the hash mark. Bennett fans on a shot thanks to Zibanejad, allowing Kreider to backhand it out of the zone. Panarin racing for it, but he's cut off by Montour. Montour to the far boards and Mikkola. And here come the Panthers back at the far wall. Stenlund leaves it for Lomberg with a shot, but it's blocked by Trouba. Rebound goes off the side of the net. Lomberg, Stenlund. Stenlund's shot goes way wide. Bounces to the far point. Mikkola can't hold it in. Panthers have the tag back up, but instead they throw it back into the zone. Approaching 4 minutes played here in overtime. Roslovic retreats back behind his net, pestered by Lomberg. Plays it out to Trouba. Trouba fires it out of the zone off Wenberg and down. There'll be no icing. Montour plays it back behind his net with Kakko all over. Stenlund trying to clear up the near boards and does. Lomberg off the glass. Cousins waiting for it to come down, but it's cut off by Fox. Roslovic puts it into the far boards, pestered by Cousins. Mikkola looking for Cousins, but it's picked off by Roslovic, who backhands it into the zone. Rangers can't keep. Wenberg waits for his mates to get back onside, brings it into the zone. Leads back to the far wing. Roslovic with a shot and a shoulder save by Bobrovsky. Wenberg with a blast that goes off the stick of Montour and out of play with 15:30 to go in OT, tied at 4.
Pretty good. Excuse me. Pretty good job by Wenberg here, in the puck in the neutral zone and really playing with authority to get it into the offensive zone. Ultimately, Bobrovsky does have to make a save. It's a long-distance save, and eventually the puck goes into the netting, and that'll garner the Rangers an offensive opportunity here. So the Rangers, playing with 11 forwards, we have not seen Matt Rempe in a while. This is a grinded-out affair here.
Trocheck will take the offensive face-off with Lundell. Every face-off, every possession, so important in overtime. Rangers win it clean. Panarin between the circles, fans on his shot, lose the puck. Good job by Schneider to keep it in, but it bounces off a Panther and goes back into the Rangers' end. Schneider, the side of his net, up the far boards around Luosterainen. Can't get the Trocheck. Luosterainen waits for his mates to get back on side of the far wing, fires a shot, pad save by Shesterkin, slides to the far corner. Backhand shot goes wide by Tarasenko when the Rangers able to clear. 5 minutes played here at overtime.
And again, we get a look at the Rangers in their own end under this onslaught that is the Florida Panthers' presence, where they just will their way to the puck line.
Gustafsson with a home run pass that goes off a heel stick, so there's no icing. Barclay Goodrow bats it out of the air, but it's possessed by Reinhart. Leaves it back into the far wing. Back to Reinhart. Reinhart spins. A shot gets deflected wide. Comes to the near boards. Rangers can come up with Cooley. Cooley feathers a pass over to Hedel. Hits the red line. Sends the bouncing puck down where it's gloved by Bobrovsky. And he's content to wait for a face-off with 14:32 left in overtime number 1.
Well, again, the Rangers really in just a kind of a prevent offense basically here. And you dovetail that into this relentless Florida presence in the offensive zone. The Rangers, not many opportunities, but still tied at 4 here with 14:32 left in overtime.
Panthers have an edge 6-3 in shots in overtime. Wenberg will take the face-off to the right of Bobrovsky. Rodriguez will take it for the Panthers off the possession. Kulikov has it up the near wall, but the Rangers have it. Gustafsson with a heave on it, scores! Emil is off to something in front, but the Rangers score in overtime, and they take a 2-1 series lead with a 5-4 win. Gustafsson from the near point finds the back of the net.
I'll tell you, folks, in all honesty, call the cops. There was a robbery here lately, and the Rangers win the hockey game by 4 in overtime as the puck finds its way to the back of the net in overtime off the stick of Gustafsson. Now, I'm not sure if it doesn't get deflected by Wenberg in front. My goodness gracious.
The Panthers are staying on the bench. I guess they're looking to see if there was an offside or any goaltender interference. The Rangers have left the ice. And we're going to have to see the replay on who got a stick on this. But Gustafsson heaves it towards the net. And it's going to be Wenberg.
Yeah, it's Wenberg. It's not even a high stick that goes off his glove. I don't know why Florida's waiting around for a review. It gets reviewed in Toronto. That's not even close. It's right at his hips. It goes off the stick between his hands. His hands are probably, Wenberg's, probably about 6 inches to a foot apart, and it goes off Wenberg's hands into the net. I'm just not sure what Florida has to do as we get a scene from New York.
And the Panthers finally giving up and going to the bench. It was Ryan Lindgren who took the shot, not 56 but 55, and Wenberg parked in front, scores, and the Rangers take a 2-1 series lead with back-to-back overtime goals.
Well, really, give the Rangers credit. You know, you talk about fate. That's fate. And I don't know why it's good fate, but we'll take it and run because Florida was an onslaught. And the Rangers, again, on the game-tying goal, lose the face-off. This one, they win the face-off, get the puck to the net, and the deflection in.
Again, if it's a prize fight, you've got the Panthers by points.
Right.
But it's not a prize fight. It's who ends up scoring more goals at the end of the day, and it ends up being the Rangers with the 5-4 win. As Ryan Lindgren with the point shot, deflected in front. And usually you wait for who's going to go to the bench to congratulate, but half the team went to Wenberg by the goal, and the other half went to Igor Shesterkin. And that's the reason why we are in the situation that we're in, Dave, because Igor Shesterkin made some unbelievable saves in that third period. That point-blank save on Tkachuk, pretty unreal.
Yeah, really, it again is a game where they being the Rangers, were certainly opportunistic, right? And at the end of the day, what you want to do is just find a way to win. And you throw a puck towards the net and give Wenberg's credit. He's wide open in front. I mean, there's not anybody within a time zone of him. And it was almost like a bunt, right? Like a bunt. Bunt the runner along as Wenberg does what he needs to do, and the Rangers do what they need to do, and reestablish home ice advantage with a 5-4 overtime win. Back-to-back games where Barclay Goodrow is a big part of the game. Alexis Lafreniere, huge part of the game. Igor Shesterkin does what he had to do. And the Rangers, once again, find a way, defying a lot of the odds of the way that game played out.
So the goal reads Wenberg is first from Lindgren and Kakko at 5:34. So Kakko, who's a healthy scratch in Game 2, comes in and assists on the game-winning goal. Rangers were outshot in overtime 6-4, 38-23 for the game. But they have a 2-1 series lead, and we'll go back at it again late on Tuesday night before heading home for a Game 5, and we'll see what happens from here. One thing I know, it's going to be close.
Yeah, it is going to be close, and again, the Rangers will, and again, this is certainly not a criticism on my part. It's just the Florida Panthers really down 4-2. Now, you go back to when Peter Laviolette called a timeout, the Rangers were good. And I felt at the end, when this thing got down to, there was the face-off, 2 minutes and 6 seconds left in the Rangers' end. I'm thinking, okay, the worst-case scenario is to get out of here and get back to the room to regroup. Right? And the Rangers get through the 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Back, Florida comes out hard once again. And you know what? A lot of times you go, you're fated when you lose. Well, to me, somehow fate played a smile at her face on the Rangers here this afternoon, and they get a 2-1 series lead.
You know, you look at like a football analogy, Dave, like in football, you've got like those early 90 Giant teams that they'd have like 12, 13 play possession, grind it down, take 8 minutes off the clock, score a touchdown, and then you got like the Kansas City Chiefs, like 4 plays, they score a touchdown. It's kind of like this Panther team. They just wear you down, long possessions, and then here come the Rangers on a couple of great backhands from Alexis Lafreniere. The shorthanded goal by Barclay Goodrow also had a deflection goal earlier in the game, and then out of nowhere, Lindgren just throws it towards the net, deflected by Alex Wenberg. Scored his biggest goal as a Ranger, that's for sure. Was one of a few that he's had, and now the Rangers have the 2-1 lead.
That they do.
And we'll be on the call coming up on Tuesday night, as the Rangers will have that lead and see what happens.
Yeah, they'll go from there.
Tuesday.
And again, you're a win closer to the next step in this journey. It is a journey, and it's a battle, and there are going to be times where things work, and there are going to be times when they don't work. And at the end of this one, it was enough, and the Rangers get the 5-4 win.
All right, Dave.
All right,
we'll see you on Tuesday. Hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Memorial Day weekend, and if you're a Ranger fan, I can't see how you don't. So hopefully you enjoyed your barbecue, you enjoyed a nice Ranger win, and we'll talk to you again on Tuesday night from Sunrise. Once again, our final score here in Sunrise, Florida for game number 3. Rangers win the game at overtime by the final score of 5-4 and take a 2-1 series lead. New York Rangers hockey on ESPN New York and the MSG Radio Network continues after this timeout.
The New York Rangers are back in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's time to take the ice for playoff action with BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. BetMGM has you covered with countless betting options for hockey, including same-game parlays, props, teasers, live bets, and so much more. With a new and improved app that makes betting faster and easier than ever. And special offers for Rangers fans, it's no wonder BetMGM is the king of all sportsbooks. If you love hard-hitting hockey action, you're going to love wagering at BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app and get your piece of the excitement as the Rangers return to the Stanley Cup playoffs. Light the lamp with BetMGM